Dear students, today we will discuss about status and scope of sheep industry. Livestock systems have both positive and negative effects on the natural resource base, public health, social equity and economic growth. Currently, livestock is one of the fastest growing agricultural subsectors in developing countries. Its share of agricultural GDP is already 33% and is quickly increasing. This growth is driven by the rapidly increasing demand for livestock products, and this demand being driven by population growth, urbanization and increasing incomes in developing countries. Sheep, with its multifaceted utility for wool, meat, milk, skins and manure, form an important component of rural economy, particularly in the arid, semi-arid and mountainous areas of the country. It provides a dependable source of income to the shepherds through sale of wool and animals. The advantages of sheep farming are: sheep do not need expensive buildings to house them, and on the other hand require less labor than other kinds of livestock. The foundation stock are relatively cheap and the flock can be multiplied rapidly. Sheep are economical converter of grass into meat and wool. Sheep will eat varied kinds of plants compared to other kinds of livestock. This makes them excellent weed destroyer unlike goats. Sheep hardly damage any tree. The production of wool, meat and manure provides three different sources of income to the shepherd. The structure of their lips helps them to clean grains lost at harvest time and thus convert waste feed into profitable products. Mutton is one kind of meat towards which there is no prejudice by any community in India, and further development of superior breeds for mutton production will have a great scope in the developing economy of India. Sheep as a livestock in the country. Small ruminants play an important role in Indian economy and it provides livelihood to two-thirds of rural community. Sheep and goat are important species of livestock for India. They contribute greatly to the agrarian economy, especially in areas where crop and dairy farming are not economical, and play an important role in the livelihood of a large proportion of small and marginal farmers and landless labourers. Sheep are mostly reared for wool and meat. Sheepskins and manure constitute important sources of earning, the latter particularly in southern India. Milk from sheep is of limited importance, and that too in very limited areas of Jammu and Kashmir, Rajasthan and Gujarat. Indian sheep are not regarded as dairy sheep. Basically, sheep are very much compatible for breeding because of their hardiness and adaptability to dry conditions. The northwestern and southern peninsular regions of the country have a large concentration of sheep. In the tropics, they are non-seasonal breeders and can be made to lamb throughout the year. The productivity of Indian sheep is lower than those of agriculturally more advanced countries. Yet, considering their nutritional and physical environment, their productivity cannot be considered as inefficient. The major reasons for low productivity are inadequate grazing resources, disease causing high mortality, morbidity and consequent reduced production, and serious lack of organized effort for bringing genetic improvement. Sheep in the economy. India's livestock sector has continuously provided structural support to the rural economy as an important vocation for rural population, next only to crop raising. On account of favorable socio-economic factors such as changing eating habits, higher purchasing power, urbanization, increasing health consciousness towards protein-rich diet, preferred meat due to religious preferences, there has been increase in demand for meat and the sector has gained importance in terms of contribution to income, employment and foreign exchange earnings. Goat and lamb meat are relatively small but important segments where local demand is outstripping supply. They have short generation intervals, high rates of prolificacy and marketing of goat sheep meat products is far easier. Rajasthan, Jammu and Kashmir, Uttar Pradesh, Gujarat, hilly regions of North and Eastern Himalayas are Indian regions with maximum livestock population. The production levels in these two categories have been almost constant at 0.95 million tons with annual exports of less than 10,000 tons. Sheep production practices in India. Sheep are multipurpose animals, are raised for their meat, milk, wool, hides and skins. Sheep are also a popular research model and some producers have developed businesses supplying animals or other products to bioscience. Thus, one of the first and most important decisions in the sector is to decide which aspect of sheep production to focus on. While most sheep breeds are multipurpose, most are best suited to either meat, milk or wool production, seldom all three. In India, sheep are mainly reared for the production of meat and wool. Production practices usually vary according to the purpose of the flock. Sheep for wool production. Wool was the first commodity to be traded internationally and is the product the public most commonly associates with sheep. However, the importance of wool relative to meat is less because of the quality of the wool produced. In India, because of various reasons and changing agroclimatic conditions, the hair type of the majority of sheep is coarse and carpet type, so production of fine wool is very limited. Fine wool brings the most money in the commodity market. Unfortunately, in India, fine wool production is very much limited to Leh Ladakh region of Jammu and Kashmir. Feeding, housing, healthcare, handling and harvesting are all critical to the production of high quality wool. Sheep for milk production. Sheep have been milked for thousands of years and were milked long before the first cow was milked. The world's commercial dairy sheep industry is concentrated in Europe and the countries on or near the Mediterranean Sea. The dairy sheep industry is very small in India. Sheep's milk is usually made into gourmet cheese. Some milk is made into yogurt and ice cream. Fresh sheep's milk is seldom consumed. Milk can be sold to a processor for conversion to cheese, or the milk can be processed on farm by the producer and marketed as a value-added product. While any breed of sheep can be milked, there are specialized dairy sheep breeds, much like there are specialized breeds of cattle and goats for dairy production. But none of the Indian breeds are pure milch type. In Jammu and Kashmir, Rajasthan and Gujarat, sheep are reared for milk, but sheep milk is of less importance and the Indian sheep are not considered as dairy sheep. Sheep production regions of India. The Indian sheep are derived both from Ural and Argali stock. They are thin-tailed, medium to coarse wool type in north temperate and northwestern regions and hairy type in southern peninsular and eastern regions. The present day Indian breeds are the outcome of thousands of years of deliberate natural selection and field level crossbreeding for adaptation to specific agroecological conditions. The sheep breeds in India have been classified on the basis of agroecological regions: North Temperate region, Northwestern Arid and Semi-Arid region, Southern Peninsular region and Eastern region. The Northern Temperate region. The region comprises of Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh and hilly regions of Uttaranchal. The entire northern hilly region falls under the influence of the Himalayas. Most flocks are small and stationary. However, about 20% of the flocks are migratory and are comparatively bigger in size. Most of the animals in this area have been involved over the last few years in crossbreeding with exotic fine wool breeds for increasing apparel wool production. The northwestern arid and semi-arid region. The region comprises the states of Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan and Gujarat and the plains of Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh. The region consists of vast alluvial plains with scattered hills and sandy desert with undulating topography. Most sheep flocks are stationary. This region has the second largest population of the sheep of the four regions. Wool produced is mostly suited for manufacture of carpets, felts and blankets. This region is the most important in country for carpet wool production. The Southern Peninsular region. This region is semi-arid in the central peninsula and the hot and humid along the coast. It comprises the states of Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Kerala and other territories in the central area. The topography of this region is comprised of highlands, plateaus, fluvial deltas and plains, mountain ranges and sandy tracts. There is very little migration of the kind observed in northwestern region. In Maharashtra, about 80% of the sheep are stationary. This region has the largest sheep population of the country. Almost half of these produce no wool. The rest produce very coarse, hairy and colored fleeces. Most sheep in this region are maintained primarily for meat. The Eastern region. The region comprises the states of Bihar, Jharkhand, West Bengal, Orissa, Assam, Meghalaya, Arunachal Pradesh, Mizoram, Manipur, Tripura, Nagaland and Sikkim. It's mostly hot and humid except for some parts of eastern states which are subtemperate and humid. The topography in this region represents vast variation including hill ranges and valleys of northeastern areas, alluvial plains with uplands and downlands in some areas in Bihar and plateaus and tableland in Orissa. Grazing management and migratory patterns. In spite of a number of sheep development activities in operation in different states of the country, sheep rearing still continues to be a nomadic, backward proposition and thus mostly concerned to poor and landless people. For scanty suitable grazing lands in most of the states, the shepherds keep on migrating their flocks over extensive areas with or even in the neighboring states. Sheep rearing is thus practiced in a diversified form depending upon the region and location. In Rajasthan, around 5 lakh sheep are in permanent migration where the flocks do not return to their home tract at any time of the year. The shepherds, however, keep on relieving one another and return home in turn. These sheep are mainly grazed in Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh and parts of Rajasthan. Generally, there are two types of migratory flocks. Truly nomadic flocks with no fixed centers but following seasonal migratory routes to the grazing areas. They are largely governed by the availability of foraging and drinking water resources. Flocks on the fallow land but following definite migratory routes to the season pastures and returning to their permanent abodes during other seasons. Issues of the sheep rearing sector. The sheep industry faces several challenges that can impact the production, management and profitability of sheep farming. These challenges vary across regions and can be influenced by factors such as climate, market conditions and technological advancements. Some common challenges include disease management. Sheep are susceptible to various diseases and managing their health can be challenging. Diseases such as foot rot, internal parasites and respiratory infections can affect the flock's overall productivity and profitability. Market fluctuations. Sheep farmers are often affected by market fluctuations, including changes in demand for lamb and wool. Prices can be influenced by factors such as consumer preferences, global economic conditions, and competition from other meat sources. Predator control. Predators such as wolves, coyotes, and domestic dogs pose a threat to sheep. Protecting flocks from predation requires effective management strategies, including the use of guardian animals, secure fencing, and other productive measures. Environmental challenges. Harsh weather conditions, droughts, and other environmental factors can impact the availability of grazing land and water resources. Climate change may also contribute to shifts in weather patterns, affecting the overall well being of the flock. Labor shortages. The sheep industry, like many other agricultural sectors, may face challenges related to labor availability and costs. The physical demands of sheep farming can make it difficult to attract and retain skilled workers. Technology adoption. The sheep industry has been slower to adopt certain technologies compared to other agricultural sectors. Embracing new technologies such as precision farming, data analytics, and genetic improvement could enhance efficiency and productivity. Regulatory compliance. Compliance with various regulations, including animal welfare standards, environmental regulations, and food safety requirements, can pose challenges for sheep farmers. Meeting these standards may require additional investments and adjustment to existing practices. Genetic improvement. Maintaining and improving the genetic traits of a sheep flock can be challenging. Selective breeding for such traits such as disease resistance, reproductive efficiency, and meat quality requires careful planning and access to high quality breeding stock. Strategies to address these challenges. The sheep industry faces various challenges ranging from economic pressures to environmental concerns. Addressing these challenges requires a multifaceted approach involving different stakeholders. Here are some strategies to tackle the challenges faced by the sheep industry. Genetic improvement. Identifying and breeding individuals with desirable traits such as higher wool yield, better meat quality, and disease resistance helps enhance these traits in subsequent generations. Selective breeding is particularly effective when combined with rigorous performance. Breed improvement of identified breeds of lesser genetic merit, that is, hybrid high genetic breeding. Breed improvement through hybrid of high genetic merit, exotic germplasm of suitable genetic traits for higher meat and wool production. The following methodology shall be adopted for this. Genetic improvement of identified indigenous descript breeds of sheep through selective breeding for better yielding breed stock for meat, milk, and wool. Genetic improvement of non-descript breeds of sheep by germplasm from existing improved descript indigenous breeds. Nutrition improvement. The nutritional needs of farm animals with respect to energy, protein, minerals, and vitamins have long been known, and these have been refined in recent decades. Poor nutrition is one of the major production constraints in smallholder systems. There are also prospects for using novel feeds from various sources to provide alternative sources of protein and energy, such as plantation crops and crops such as maize, sorghum, millet, and groundnut. Addressing the nutritional constraints faced by pastoralists in extensive rangeland systems in the developing world is extremely difficult. While there is potential to improve livestock productivity in semi-arid and arid areas, probably the most feasible solutions require integrated application of what is already known, rather than the new technology. This could involve dissemination of information from farmer to scientists and vice versa. Public health issues will become increasingly important, such as concerns associated with the use of antibiotics in animal production, including microbiological hazards and residues in food. So, keeping in view of consumer concerns for food safety and quality, we need to make awareness to the farmers with regard to the judicious use of antibiotics and vaccines. Disease management. Morbidity and mortality are the two important factors resulting in heavy losses in sheep production and improvement programs. Prevention is always better than cure, as it is a lot cheaper. This has special significance with sheep, as they seem to respond less to treatment when sick than other livestock species. Diseases in sheep can be broadly classified as non-infectious and infectious. Prevention of disease plays a major role in increasing profitability in a sheep farm. Vaccination against infectious disease is an important component of health management. Marketing of sheep products. Meat production and supply of meat for local consumption is the most neglected sector in the country. Meat is sold in open premises, leading to contamination from dirt, dust, flies, and other pollutants. This traditional production system and the unhygienic practices have ruined the image of Indian meat industry. Indian meat industry on scientific and modern lines is need for benefiting livestock producers, processors, finally consumers. Development of adequate market infrastructure with basic requirements is must for marketing. Because of the unorganized nature of the sector, farmer is not getting good price. Lack of scientifically designed good abattoirs and processing plants discourage the farmer to start scientific rearing of meat, goats, and limit the flock number. Along with production and productivity increase, marketing facilities shall be prioritized to compete the export markets and to increase the income. Environmental sustainability. Implement sustainable farming practices to minimize the environmental impact of sheep farming. Explore eco-friendly feed options and grazing management strategies. Financial support. Advocate for government support programs, subsidies, or grants to assist sheep farmers during challenging times. Encourage the development of insurance programs tailored for the sheep industry. Supply chain collaboration. Strengthen collaboration between different elements of the sheep supply chain, from farmers to processors and retailers. Foster transparent communication to address issues and streamline operations. Climate resilience. Develop strategies to cope with the impacts of climate change, such as extreme weather events and change pasture conditions. Invest in infrastructure that enhance resilience, like improved water management system. Community engagement. Foster positive relationships with local communities to gain support for the industry. Engage in outreach programs to raise awareness about the economic and environmental contributions of the sheep industry. Regulatory advocacy. Collaborate with policymakers to ensure that regulations support the sustainable growth of the sheep industry. Advocate for fair trade policies to protect the interests of sheep farmers in the global market. Implementing a combination of these strategies can contribute to the resilience and sustainability of the sheep industry in the face of various challenges. Hope you found this lecture interesting and